Are you comfortable sharing the story of when you went to India to sort of regroup, or you went to was it a monk?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I'm
Okay,
comfortable sharing
that was
everything.
such a moving story. Can you share that with us?
Yes. So, again, I had this chemical imbalance that happened after being under anesthesia for longer than expected.
Mhm.
And because I had to constantly still, work, they had suggested that we spoke to the surgeon that told me what happened, because
Mhm.
we had no idea at the beginning. I just thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And once we figured out what was wrong, I started seeing a psychiatrist that put me on this medication, and I was on antidepressants for almost a year. And I'm a feeler, right?
Mhm.
I like to feel things. And even in my profession, I like to live in those moments and feel these emotions, whether they're happy and
Yeah.
funny or sad. I want to feel. And the antidepressants were sort of numbing that for me.
Mm.
And then I think I got into a place where I got chronically depressed. I was already dealing with, postpartum depression that I never dealt with. I, had given birth to my children and had to be back at work 2.5 weeks later.
Wow.
And so, it's a blessing to have been experiencing that. And so I felt really guilty, that how can I say no to work? Because, here are all these people that are in the world that, like, of course they want to be actors, and here I am having these jobs. And how can I then, not want to thrive in them?
Yeah.
But I had to take care of myself, and I didn't. And then one day I just woke up and I realized that I wasn't okay. And that I wasn't not just okay, that I was not going down a good path. I was under the medication. It had pushed me to a place where I can call it the place of no return. I think that's the best way for me to put it. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I think back on it, because it was a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And I started reading more and doing some digging on spirituality. And for me, that's what spoke to me. I mean, for everybody, it's different, right?
Yeah.
I don't claim to know what somebody else needs, but for me, I felt like that's what I needed. And I called a friend of mine who happens to be part of my tribe now, Ramona Braganza. She's one of the founders of 321 Empowerment, is this organization who the Beverly Hills Chamber is working with. And she's the one that called me to speak actually on Wednesday. Beautiful. Yeah. So it's interesting that you asked me this question. But to bring it full circle, I called her up, and she had trained me when I did the movie X-Men in Vancouver. I asked her if she knew anybody that was some kind of guru or someone that was, dove into that place of his spirituality. And she recommended Talavan Krishna, who I called my guru now. And I spoke to him over the phone. He gave me a mantra for me to chant at times that I was able to not be on the medication. And I started chanting. And it made me feel like it still made my mind feel still. Yeah. And that got me to a better place. And then I booked a trip to India. I called my husband, who we were not doing great at the time. Obviously, it was a very difficult time, and I was working. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to India for 21 days." I was like, "What?" And I was very grateful to him, because he did come with me, because he didn't want me to just disappear by myself. He knew that I wasn't right, that I wasn't doing great, but he allowed me to have my own experience. He sort of stayed behind and just let me experience what I needed to. And I checked into this holistic center called the IBAT Center in India, and every day they took televisions away, and no phones, and they had own plane in the vicinity every single day, and 3 meals a day. It was very strict, but also very freeing, because you had all this time just with you. And I think I spent the first week and a half crying most of the time,
No, seriously.
Just put off the medication and just with me, and just trying to understand. I had spent a year seeing a therapist, seeing a psychologist, seeing a psychiatrist. I knew where the trauma was. You know what I mean? I had figured out, okay, so in college that happened. And you know what I mean? Yes. When I started working, this happened, and this guy was an asshole. You know what I mean? Totally. All these things, where my heart got broken for the first time, and all these things that were a part of me that I guess, you push down sometimes when you're that kind of person that's, I gotta go, and I'm okay. And so then I never really dealt with any of these things. So they were all up in the surface. And I think that was driving me crazy, because now I'm like, what do I do with all this? It made me have the space to just be quiet and to have to acknowledge every single thing, and then to be able to let it go. You know, like I said, it was a part of me. And yes, your past, it shapes you, but it doesn't become you.
Yes.
You know, and your future so far ahead, it'll give you anxiety if you think too far ahead. It's about, you know,
right now.
Right now, you know, loving yourself right now in that moment. And that to me was, you know, I always say India changed my life. And that trip changed my life because it changed my behavior. And if you don't change your behavior, the outcome will always be the same.
Yeah.
And I was ready for the outcome to be different. I didn't want to be a victim anymore. I didn't want things to happen to me and then all of a sudden me act or react in a certain way and then feel like somehow my actions were validated because something happened to me. I wanted to feel proud of how I handled situations. And I have to tell you that I think life has thrown things my way since, and I'm very proud of how gracefully I handle things.
Yeah.